Hey, it's Scotty. Let's talk about solo pigs or pigs in a side by side cage situation. Sometimes they're called grid buddies. A lot of people think that they failed if they can't find a match for their solo boy. Now, it's a lot easier to bond girls, so you should not really have trouble finding a cage mate for your girl, although it can happen. It's just extremely rare. But with boys, it is pretty common. So that's why I wanted to talk about this today. Many people will feel like they failed their piggies if they can't find a match. Others don't realize that guinea pigs shouldn't live alone. But for those of us that do, we often feel like we failed them when we can't find a match. But I want to take a look at this from a different perspective. So first, if you do have the ability for a no commitment play date at a dedicated guinea pig or small animal rescue, do it. Even if it is a couple-hour drive and it's a day trip, what an amazing story, what an amazing experience and adventure you'll have finding a match for your piggy. Sometimes it may take a couple days. It may take a couple different attempts to find the right match. I facilitate adoptions at the Los Angeles Guinea Pig Rescue, and usually we can do about 3 to 4 play dates before a piggy just gets too upset and it's not going to be a good match. If you have the ability to do a non-commitment bonding session, play date to try to find a friend for your piggy, then please take advantage of that. But I have had pigs where we tried on numerous days, multiple sessions, trying to find a buddy, and for one reason or another, we just couldn't find a match. In that case, a side-by-side, a grid buddy situation is totally fine and perfectly appropriate. Consider the fact that there are so many guinea pigs in shelters and in rescues that need good homes that if you can't find a good match, that could still be the right guinea pig in a side-by-side situation. So I wouldn't really get too upset about if you can't find a match. I have a number of piggies that live here that live in their own enclosure, and we have play dates. They get to spend time with their neighbors. They get to communicate at all times through the grids, and in this room they're always communicating, and they live a really happy life. There are ways that you can enhance their experience even more. So I recommend a minimum of 8 square feet for a single piggy. So that would be the size of a Midwest or a 2x3 CNC cage that uses 14-inch grids. So what else can you do? Well, Pipsqueak, he has a pretty large cage. He has about a 1 3/4 by 4 cage over here, and then he has this really long racetrack that goes over here. Now he's able to communicate with these guys, with Micah, he's able to communicate with Gus and with Gizmo, and he gets to really run, and I think he really prefers it that way. Now he still has play dates all the time. He has play dates. I put him in the cages. I put other piggies in his racetrack, but after a little while, somebody usually gets upset, and that's okay. They can have a 5-minute play date, a 10-minute play date, and that's totally fine. So if you have a single pig, or if you don't have a rescue and you wanted to adopt from a shelter, and maybe they only have one, or they have 2 but they don't get along, consider side-by-side buddies can live a really great life. Being stuck at a shelter or a rescue where they're not necessarily getting individual attention, it's so much better that they are in your home, and maybe someday you'll be able to find a match. Maybe someday the grids can come down and the 2 side-by-side buddies will get along. Stranger things have happened, but you don't necessarily have to feel guilty if you can't find the right match. You don't have to feel like you failed them. But I definitely think that guinea pigs shouldn't live alone. If you can find a friend for them, even if it's just side by side. It's really going to boost their sense of security, their ability to communicate and just enjoy life. So I'd love to hear from you. Have you had a single piggy that lived by themselves and then you got them a friend or a side-by-side buddy? How did finally finding a match for your piggy change their personality? Let me know if you've got side-by-side piggies and how they're doing, because I can tell you that my piggies that live side by side, they're doing great. They really enjoy each other's company, and we've got to let go of the stigma of these side-by-side piggies not having as good a life as piggies that are bonded. Whatever the situation is, if you're giving them love, you're giving them the adequate space that they need, the proper diet, and they do have somebody in the same room, then they're gonna live a really good, happy life. So I'll put a link to some of my racetrack videos so you can see how it works, how to make it, and you might find that it really helps your solo pigs to really come out of their shell, to get a lot more exercise and to visit their neighbors. And that's what I envisioned for this. So I really hope you'll enjoy that. Until next time, thanks for watching.